sometimes it's a problem where I'm in a relationship and I expect that girl to make me happy. Do you understand what I mean? I expect her to make me happy, and she expects me to make her happy. Do you understand what I mean? It can never work. You are here to make yourself happy, because
100%.
what if this guy or girl goes now? Then you're not happy no more.
I 100% agree.
If a woman can understand that, naturally we might be more emotional than men. So I feel like men are more logical. So sometimes to a man it's yes or no, but to a woman it might be like 100 different things in that yes or no.
The relationship that you see between your parents growing up, has a big influence on how you perceive relationships going forward into your adult years. Do you know what I mean? For example, that's reprogramming the way that I perceive relationships. So now when I'm going and searching for my perfect woman, I don't know that subconsciously I'm looking to mirror the things that I've been taught and information I've consumed from my parents. You know what I mean? Boom. Welcome back to another episode of the Energizer Pod. Energizer Podcast, a podcast that leaves you charged up. I'm here with myself, Ty, as you know, and I have a guest as well. Tay ain't here. Tay boyed it. Do you know what I mean? He's going to be here a little bit later, but for right now, it's just me running the play. Do you know what I mean? So we got a lovely guest here. So introduce yourself, man. Let's run it.
Hey guys, my name's Amira.
Strong.
I do a couple of things. I'm just going to get straight into it.
Yeah.
In terms of like TikTok and social media, I've really been running the relationships chat and just sort of understanding yourself as a woman.
Yeah.
Of course, like
Stirring
men.
the pot.
Yeah. I feel like, of course, men can relate a little bit, but majority of the content is for women and just empowering women in relationships in like today's day and age. And then separate to that, I do radio presenting and then presenting on the side. And then I work a 9 to 5 as well, which is in financial education.
Strong.
Thank you.
See what I like as well? Like, I do this, by the way, and TikTok, like, it's good that you got hands dipped in multiple pies, do you know what I mean? So we're going to touch on all of them kind of pies today, do you know what I mean?
Love that.
Let's start off with TikTok and relationships. So talk to me a bit more about that, because I feel like, before I even jump in, when people start saying, oh yeah, I do content on TikTok about relationship, everyone's probably thinking a bit skeptical. What type of content is it? Is it just like, oh yeah, I'm not into this type of, do you know what I mean? Is it gossipy? What is it?
No, definitely not. I feel like if anyone's seen it before, amazing. But if not, the best way to describe it is empowering young women, old women, women of every age to sort of take back control, like dating. So I feel like nowadays, like through social media, we've all got like such crazy expectations as to how we should date and stuff. And sometimes that can be detrimental to ourselves. So the idea is to sort of, like just get women to understand like how to take control, not be like emotionally controlled by their situations. I feel like I've done a lot of studying in terms of the biology of a woman and a man and how we do things and what it's based off of. And I've just been trying to teach women that it's okay to be emotional, but just to not let those emotions control every action that you sort of partake in when you're dating.
Yeah, that's interesting, you know, because like, I would always say, and I'm pretty sure I have said in a past podcast as well, episode, that like, I believe that women are naturally a lot more emotional. So when you're coming from a perspective or you're making content to tell women to not always tap into their feminine side of emotion, how does that kind of work? Because aren't women just naturally emotional?
I wouldn't say
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's for them to not tap into their emotional side. I think it's more so understanding your emotions but not letting them control you. So like, instead of seeing it as a weakness, use it as a strength.
Strong.
So the best way for me to put it is like, I guess in the past and even sometimes to this day, if I'm extremely angry or sad about something, I can make a decision, but nine times out of 10 when I'm more level-headed, I don't agree with the decisions I've made in that space. So my thing is, if a woman can understand that, naturally we might be more emotional than men. So I feel like men are more logical. So sometimes to a man it's yes or no, but to a woman it might be like 100 different things in that yes or no.
I agree.
And obviously not every woman's going to agree, and it's not one mark fits all. But from my understanding, my experiences and my friends and people around me, books I've read, naturally women are more emotional, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I don't think it's a bad thing to even say, like, it's okay to be emotional. It's okay to naturally have those sort of, you know, that foundation of being emotional as a woman. I just think when it takes over your life, anyone that's super emotional, we can agree that like it can affect your life badly if you, you know, if you do everything with emotion. So when it comes to relationships and like channeling it in that, I feel like if women sort of made decisions that were more similar to like how men make decisions and not allow their emotions to really take over, we'd be in a better situation overall.
Damn. That's interesting, you know, dropping gems still. Make sure you lot are subscribing, tapping in, liking, all that stuff, because you're going in strong still.
Thanks.
And I do agree with what you said there, especially where you said like women are naturally more emotional, men kind of tend to naturally default towards logic. Do you know what I mean? Is it just black or white, yes or no? Where with women, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a bit more complex, let's just say. Do you know what I mean? Because your emotions get involved. You don't really know. Black and white is now, do you know what I mean, grey. It's blurred. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's hard because obviously each situation, each relationship like is different, and like how people treat people is not one size fits all. So I don't think like my videos are like, if you follow this, like you're not going to be treated badly. It's more so, I feel like a lot of the women that have like engaged with my content have experienced like, manipulation is the wrong word, but have experienced something that they didn't believe they were going to experience when entering that space. So like maybe if it was like the love not being reciprocated, maybe it was like a decrease of love over time, whatever it is. And I feel like that happens when women overcompensate when in relationships, you know. I feel like this will like annoy a few people, because at the end of the day, like this is like emotional stuff. Like this is stuff that people are really going through. So if you hear someone say, oh, like you overcompensate, someone might be like, who do you think you are? Why are you saying that? Like that's not the case. But I'm speaking from my experience, and I feel like in situations, in past relationships where I've overcompensated for whatever reason, doesn't make you a bad person. It just means it gives people the opportunity to sort of, you give them one thing and they run, you know, with 10. So
give them an inch to take them out.
Yeah, exactly. So I feel like it's, like I said, it's not one size fits all, but the content that I make is, the aim of it is to give women back that power that they can sometimes lose in relationships that are just not reciprocated.
Damn.
Yeah.
Strong. I just gotta give a couple seconds for you to take that one in, because they're dropping gems still, I can't lie. And I resonate with a lot of the things you're saying. So like even when you were saying about how like a lot of it's not being reciprocated, and like sometimes when you're in a relationship and as a woman you're made to feel as if you should submit to a man, we'll touch on that a bit later. As a woman, I understand that you can kind of feel a bit powerless rather than feeling powerful. Does that make sense? Because like it's almost like you might be in a situation where you're giving up your control, or like a man's leading you down a road of a dead end, or like introducing you to a vibe that he cannot maintain. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the situations, like obviously there's good men that exist and good women that exist, and you know, people are always going to sort of, the opportunity to have a good relationship is always going to be a thing. Like a lot of the time people comment on my stuff and say like, oh, like, you know, I'll get the bad comments and they'll say like, oh, you know, you people that think all men are like this. And I was like, I've never in any of my content said all men are like this, and I've never said all women are like this. And I also say that it can happen the other way around too. Lots of men enter situations where the love is not reciprocated, or they're being, let's say, finessed, or they're being taken for granted. So I think it's hard to explain, but I feel like content in general online shouldn't be taken as like black and white. It shouldn't be like, that's just based off of my opinion and my experience. And overall, I forgot what you said. What was your question?
I don't even know. I just agreed. Started being a bit of a yes man. I can't lie.
No. Where was I? I guess this is what I was going to say. I feel like a lot of the times the situations we end up in come from like what we've experienced when we were younger. So naturally, like what your experiences are in your family life, the first time someone said no to you, how positive and negative reinforcement was enforced in your life. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, so for me, it's like, if, for example, as a woman, you don't have a strong relationship with your father emotionally, let's say that, or your pet or your mother, and it's a situation where you've not been taught how to communicate, you're naturally gonna translate that communication as to the person you're with, right? So
Gems.
And this is all, like I said, from experience and from understanding my friends and just understanding, like growing up in the era of social media as well, like a lot of influences online as well. So we've got like, I think maybe when I was 16, 17, social media wasn't as strong. I mean, it was, but just not as much as now. So let's pair together, like, let's say a negative household with like the access to social media. Your views of relationships are going to be very like, you know, narrow-minded and very specific. So I just want to get people away from that. Like, I think it's important to to build your own understanding of relationships, but also hold yourself accountable, because a lot of the time the things that happen to us, it's a choice. Eventually, if people treat you badly 5, 6 times, 7 times, it's a choice. Like, you're allowing them to do that to you, but it's not your fault. It's more understanding why you're letting that happen is where I sort of want to sit. So like letting people understand is, why do you let someone treat you like that, or why do you let this happen at the expense of this, or do you know, what is it from your past that has got you in this situation currently? And if you have that understanding, you naturally become more powerful. Do you know what I mean? So
this just the mirror shot at this point. Take over still. You're doing my job, do you know what I mean? I swear down, but you're dropping gems, I can't lie, and I literally agree with everything that you said, and I'm happy that you came on here having a high level conversation. I'm just here like, yeah, strong, do you know what I mean? Because it's substance, and a lot of the stuff I resonate with, and will definitely flesh it out a little bit more. So let's talk about growing up in a negative household, because I definitely agree, or not even a negative household, but a household with a set way of communication, relationships and stuff like that. So like, what you see, the relationship that you see between your parents growing up, has a big influence on how you perceive relationships going forward into your adult years. Do you know what I mean? For example, me, just being honest, open and transparent. No one's family is perfect. Do you know what I mean? Growing up, like, there may have been some arguments between my parents or whatnot, and now that's what's the word? That's reprogramming the way that I perceive relationships. So now when I'm going and searching for my perfect woman, whoever that may be, I don't know that subconsciously I'm looking to mirror the things that I've been learned and taught, and information I've consumed from my parents. You know what I mean? So when I'm seeing the way my parents in this example are communicating, arguments, it could get heated, for example. Now I think that that's the norm. So my boundaries here. So when I go forward into getting or having a relationship with a woman, for example, now that I think that's our norm as well, and I don't even know that I'm displaying toxic traits onto this woman I'm with, because that's all I know. That's my normal, that's my default. Do you know what I mean? Would you agree?
Yeah, I feel like there's loads of things that we learn from our parents. Like, for example, if you come from like an immigrant family, usually the dad is the breadwinner. In my household, that is the case. Like, my dad is the one that works and my mum isn't. So like, is it completely wrong for me to go out and search for somebody that would provide for me? However, if you put that in social media today, someone might turn around and be like, like, you're broke, or you're broke, or you want man for money, la-di-da, like, do you know what I mean? But that could genuinely just be my understanding of relationships, because in my household, that's what's happened. Now, it's a hard one. Like, I feel like I 100% agree. If you are taught how to communicate in a way where, like, for example, even in my household, like, my communication has always been better with my mum than my dad, not because my dad doesn't want to communicate, but because he works 24/7. When he comes home, like, I guess he just doesn't want to sit and have a conversation about emotions. Do you know what I mean? To them, there's another thing as well. Like, when it comes to immigrant parents, they came to this country on survival mode. That's how I see it. They didn't grow up, and a lot of them didn't grow up and get to understand their own emotions. So they might not, like, they don't understand that it can affect their children growing up, but where they didn't have that themselves, it's almost like they don't know what they've missed out on. So when somebody comes to them with a new problem, it's like, how am I supposed to sort of conquer this? It's like, you know, like, I don't know if it's the same, but I'm pretty sure it is. It's like, mental health isn't really like respected the same way as it is in society than it is in my household, I would say. Like, it's just like, okay, you're depressed, go over it. We go to work every day and we're depressed. You know what I mean? So that also plays a role in it. So sometimes it's not what our parents do say, it's what they don't say that can affect how we see like communication. So I guess from an example of a woman, if she's not communicating with her parents clearly when she's young, her mum and her dad, about what she's going through, when it comes to a man, you're going to suppress the way you feel because you've been taught to suppress your feelings for the whole of your life.
Damn.
And then it's like,
we're going deep.
Yeah, and then you fall into a cycle, and it's like, I've seen this happen millions of times. Even if you have a great relationship with your parents, there might be elements that affect how you treat a man and how a man treats you, or what you accept from a man as well. And this isn't just like relationships, it's friendships as well. Like it sort of translates all over. Like, people can take advantage of you if you let them, and it's not like every single person's out there to take advantage of you, but to like get rid of the bad guys and the bad girls and la-di-da, you have to, there's a level of like understanding that you have, and I see it as like self-respect as well. It sounds mad, but the more you respect yourself, the less you're going to let those things happen to you. But the low self-respect comes from not having that strong foundation. You know, it's not your fault you don't respect yourself enough to not allow that behavior and you're letting your emotions sort of take control. It's because you don't know any different. But the aim is to sort of get people to understand that you have to respect yourself, and you won't be treated in that way. Like, I used to say it all the time, like, why do these kinds of men approach me, la-di-da-di-da, and it's like, all them type of men approach everyone. It's just the women that let them in is where the difference lies, you know?
Strong.
So, yeah.
Strong. And even on that note, I have not really a quote, but something just to add on. And it's like, even when it comes to like relationships and sex, I feel like men are like the requesters of sex and women are the gatekeepers of sex. Do you know what I mean? And what I mean by that is like you said in that example, it may not be the same because you may be walking down a high street and a guy's like, oh yeah, this girl's let me move to her, yeah. But men will always try and make that first approach, but it's the woman's choice whether she allows the approach, like you said. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so you can go on.
No, I totally get that. I don't necessarily agree completely. I think on a mainstream whole societal basis, it'd be silly to be like, no, men don't pursue sex and women don't gatekeep it. But I think now times are changing and women are sort of, there's a lot more women, I guess the city girl era, do you know, there's a lot more women that are like open about being sexual and sexually liberated, which I support. I'm like, do what makes you happy.
Strong.
But overall, it is true that naturally men are the pursuers, they're the hunters, they're the ones that need to make children. And it's not like we live in, you know, the olden times where it's like evolutionally based, but those things still lie within us, like at foundation. So 100% women have more control than they realize. Like sometimes I feel like I said, it's a combination of things that affect a woman and make her feel like she has to stay in situations. Like I look at it as an overall basis, and I think men really, you know, manipulate women across the world. And this might be a blanket statement to some people, but I feel like a lot of women are stuck in situations where they're with a man that doesn't treat them well because they feel like they can't do better or they can't leave the situation. And it's just not the case. Like a lot of women, I feel like a lot of men find amazing women and then know that woman is amazing, but know that woman doesn't have the self-worth that she could possibly have. There's that element as well that I make the videos come from. And it's just like, not everyone's going to agree, and some people are going to say like I'm talking out my ass basically, but I think that women naturally, it's just about reminding people about their worth. If a man can take from it, then great, but my aim is to just get women to like respect themselves more, not in a sense of what they do with themselves, more so how they let people treat them.
Listen, sorry to interrupt you guys.
I'm here. Man just appeared now.
No, it's crazy. I'm here, but I apologize to both of you, man. Let's run.
We're good still. We're good, man. Always. Yeah? You know so just to recap what we was talking about, so obviously the main man himself just joined and that charged up. Yeah. We're talking about relationships, you know what I mean? So like Amir was saying, we was kind of like just about to tap into how a woman can kind of communicate her way out of that situation if she's in a relationship whereby a man's kind of leading her astray. So before you give your opinion, I'd like Amir to just drop her gems and then we can go from there.
Yeah, I feel like it's really important when you get to like a higher level of thinking to understand that not everything that happens to you is your fault. So a lot of the women that I've spoke to since making the videos, they was like, why me, or why do I get treated like this? And it's like, try and flip it and see that, you know, people only communicate to the same way we communicate to our level of understanding, and we want to be as aware as we want to be. Sometimes it is the case the other way around. Like you don't know how damaged or what trauma the person you're talking to has gone through. You don't know their household, you don't know their situation. Same way we were talking about, you know, if I don't have a good relationship with my parents growing up with communicating, how am I going to translate that in a relationship? That's the exact same the other way around. Like you could have attracted somebody that has the same upbringing as you. Man. So it's not really about you. Like you have to be a bit less like, oh, you know, selfish in that sense of, oh, like I've done all this for that person and la-di-da and they're treating me this way. It's like, no, there could be something completely outside of you that stops that person from giving you what you want in a healthy way, you know?
There's always context in the situation, man, for real.
Even jumping on that, I feel like, again, strong. And the reason why I'm like, shit, you're talking facts is because I feel like holding myself accountable in past, let's just say situations / relationships that I've been in, I feel like I've done that. I feel like sometimes I can be not shallow, but when I'm talking to someone and engaging with someone that I like, I'm only looking at the tip of the iceberg. This person's taking long to reply, or she's not giving me energy, or this, that, and the third. But I don't know. I might not know what sits underneath that. For example, you can't transcend what you don't know. Do you know what I mean? So like you said, if I'm in a, let's say example now, I'm talking to this one girl and she's being mad toxic to me. So from a face value, top of the iceberg, I'm only seeing the toxicness from her, but I don't know that she is not able to show me a healthy relationship if she's never been introduced to that 100%. Through her family, for example. You're
seeing it from your perspective where she's just acting like this towards me. When truly there's a whole story behind it, if that makes sense. Do you get me? Like even me, there's certain people I've spoken to in the past and it's like, you know what I can be like with my replies sometimes. Sometimes I'm just not responsive, I'm not reactive when it comes to social media and stuff. And it's like, why are you treating me like this? Why are you not replying when I want you to reply? When really and truly, it's just that I'm busy. But you don't know what I'm dealing with in my day-to-day life. You just see me in your relationship, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes, obviously, let's not like blanket statement it again. Like sometimes people just don't want to reply. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no,
and
facts.
sometimes like you can lose interest. And I think that's also something that people have an issue with, like loving with ego or liking with ego. Like a lot of the time I also hear like, oh, like I was my best version of myself. I did everything for this person and they walked away from me. And it's like, you don't own anyone. Nobody owns anyone. Nobody, even if you're married, even if you're engaged, even if you've got kids together, like you don't have ownership over anyone. And like, if you love with the idea that you've got ownership over someone, it's always going to go wrong. Like people die, things change, like life, happens. You have to adapt to life. So if you go into a situation like that, it's always going to be negative. Like for me, I feel like love's been easier because I start treating people like experiences, and I'm grateful for the fact that they're already in my life.
Stop there.
People like experience.
Talk on that.
So I feel like naturally in life, you might agree, you might disagree, but I feel like you can love more than one person. And I feel like the love is different. So when I was 16, my love would have been different to 25. And then if I'm in love again at 33, it's going to be different depending on where you are in life and what you're looking for in love as well.
Yeah.
But one thing I will always say is that all of those loves will eventually end. So if that's the case, why am I going to fixate on one person? And if that person leaves my life one day, like my whole life's going to fall apart. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't think love needs to be something that is like, it comes with ego. It doesn't need to be, and it's hard because obviously in this day and age, people feel like they need to have ownership over their partner, like, oh, don't talk to anyone else, don't like someone's pictures, male and female on either side. But if you want a healthy love for yourself, forget the person you're with. If you want to feel healthy within your love, I think you need to detach from the idea that, somebody belongs to you or anything somebody does is, 100% your concern. If someone chooses to leave you tomorrow, does that mean your life has to be over the next day? No. You choose for it to be over because you walked into that space thinking, this person is mine. No one belongs to anyone.
Facts.
You don't even belong to your parents after 18. Like you're
facts.
Love is a hard thing to understand. There's loads of layers and loads of different things that affect how we love. But the healthiest love I've seen and what I've like tried to replicate is the love that is like, without ego, without expecting in return, without doing things, for a reason. And that's the healthiest version I've seen. So I just try to emulate it.
I agree. And I feel like when it comes to relationships, you shouldn't give to receive. And I feel like that's really the crux of what you're saying. At the end of the day, you may be in a relationship with someone, but you need to enter that relationship with a clear conscience. For example, I don't have a dirty conscience, so I feel bad or guilty because I'm not providing A, B, and C. So I'm going to overcompensate and put pressure on this person to provide A, B, and C. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So it's literally like, don't attach. I can't lie, I really do agree with what you said, because I feel like, again, even holding myself accountable and like you're saying these things and I'm just thinking back like, shit, this is me, like I'm just dropping facts, because like I feel like in past relationships I definitely have attached my ego to my love or my pride to my love and affection that I'll give someone. So it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna invest in this woman only if what she's doing aligns with me or makes me feel what's not emasculated, but like makes me feel I'm that guy, like you said, that's mine, etc. But like you said, what as easy as it comes, it can go. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So you never have ownership over someone else. You're just a part of their experience and journey.
I just feel like if you think like that, like in that mindset, and I have too in the opposite way, like nothing I say comes from like just guessing, like there's all things I've experienced, right? Yeah. And I feel like if you think like that and you're like, what this person does like affects me, like anything that person does will literally change your mood, will affect what you're doing. Like I don't want to be in a situation where I don't work for 2 weeks because I'm heartbroken. Do you know what I mean? It is dangerous, and it's like, why would you, it's really easy to fall in them situations, but if you can enter a situation at a high level of thinking and think, you know what, the love between me and this person is genuine. It doesn't make it ingenuine if you see it in a way where you don't own the person. But it's hard to, all this being said, it's hard to take that in when a lot of the stuff that we see online, a lot of the things that we sort of take in is the opposite. It's like, I own my woman, or I own my man, or my man can't do this, or my woman can't do this. And it's like, respectfully, people are going to do what they want to do regardless.
And you can't control anyone.
Exactly.
Do you know what's so crazy? Yeah? So Will Smith and Jada.
Yeah.
That's not a couple that you would typically look at and learn anything from, because their situation's a bit crazy, but I learned something from them. I saw a video from Will Smith and he was saying that Will Smith and Jada, they've decided that they are not responsible for each other's happiness. So Will's responsible for his own happiness, Jada's responsible for her own happiness, and I feel like sometimes it's a problem where I'm in a relationship and I expect that girl to make me happy. Do you understand what I mean? I expect her to make me happy, and she expects me to make her happy. Do you understand what I mean? It can never work. You are here to make yourself happy, because
100%.
what if this guy or girl goes now? Then you're not happy no more.
I 100% agree. I even have to jump in. I know I'm just gonna basically regurgitate everything you just said, but it's facts, and I have to really, so everyone who's watching knows and understands, don't tie your happiness to someone, because now your happiness is conditional because you've attached it to something that can leave. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I hear people like, oh yeah, I don't want him to go because he makes me happy, and that ties into the point you were saying earlier on about people who allow themselves to be in situations that is not ideal for them, not congruent and benefiting them in any positive way in the long run, but you're there because, oh, he makes me happy, he makes me smile. So what, you're gonna allow this guy or girl to be toxic towards you, put you through a holy patrol because, oh, he's my happiness, because you've consciously tied your happiness, which is an internal factor within, to something that's external, which is them. Do you know what I mean?
I think it touches on something else that like we tend to ignore. I don't know, I feel like it's the same for men, but I'm talking from a perspective of women. I feel like a lot of tying your happiness to a man when he comes into your life is to do with lack of self-purpose. So like if you don't feel like you have something going for yourself, or you don't have the self-belief that you can achieve something for whatever reason, that happiness that you would tend to get from that space sort of like translates into the other space. And that can be because like you might not have achieved something in a long while, you just have low self-belief, you have low self-worth, and because of that you're not going to take time and put effort into something that you want to do, whether it's a hobby, whether it's work, whether it's a passion. You're just not going to tap into that as much because you just don't think it's going anywhere. Whereas you get like an adrenaline rush, you get like a boost of serotonin every single time you're with this man, and it's like a drug, isn't it? At the end of the day, like people, we are around people because they make us happy. You choose to be with that man because no matter what the situation is, reciprocated or not, when you're with him you feel happy. It's not about like later and he's not communicating properly, it's about why do you keep going back, because that makes you feel good. But if that was sort of translated to something that you want to work on, like yourself, whether it's physicality, whether it's your mental, whether it's a passion, that's a point of my TikTok as well. Like that's the content I want to make and the content I am making. Like men, I feel like naturally do better at working towards career progression, and women tend to not, in my opinion. So I feel like if we sort of took that chapter out of a book and tried to work on it ourselves, you'd be stronger as a woman. Like I feel like busier women, like you're gonna have less time to entertain all those, low level options.
Low vibration stuff,
exactly. And if you are a woman that doesn't shake those things, like you don't cancel your plans because a man wants to take you out. You don't move things around because he can only take you on a date on this day. All right, don't go on the date then. Wait 2 weeks. And if he can't wait 2 weeks, then he wasn't trying to be around you for a long time anyway. Do you know what I mean?
I feel
like a lot of those things is things that we can look over because, oh my God, he's this or he's that. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to find love and wanting to be in love with someone, no matter what sort of background you come from. If you come from a broken home, if you don't come from a broken home, like we all want to be loved, and I believe that whether people fully agree or not, I think everyone naturally has a desire to want love. So there's nothing wrong with that. It's just the delivery of going about that. People are only going to treat you how you want to be how you let them treat you. So if you're allowing someone to see you at any time of day, if you're allowing someone to allow you to cancel your plans and you're enabling that, why are they going to value your time if you're available at a click of a finger? I wouldn't value someone's time. The same way the other way around. If a man was always available for me, I'd be like, no, thank you, I'm not
That's
interested.
what girls are like, You see when you're too available for a girl, I've deeped it myself, like sometimes you're too available for a girl, or you show too much, what's the word? Attention. Sometimes, like you show them too much energy. It's like they fall back. Yeah. Because why are you so on me all the time? I was speaking to someone about this the other day. That's a turn off sometimes.
It's because things that are easily accessible lose value. And I said this to you enough times, and this is how I like to live my life. Like again, I'm only going to speak from a perspective of a male because I'm not going to speak on things I don't know. But as a man, your attention is your currency. I say this all the time. So choose wisely the things that you buy or invest into, whether it be a woman, a sport, a hobby, whatever, because your attention is literally like, it's a currency. Like I can't say it, stress it enough. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like that is too accessible loses its value. So you're not going to respect something, as we all can collectively agree, if it's readily available. Do you know what I mean? Same way you could be talking to a woman today and she might just have a lot of free time on her hands and she's ready, click of the finger, oh yeah, come meet me, cool. Do you know what I mean? Or you, for example, Amira, you could be chatting to a guy. If you're not seeing that he's busy or he's just readily available, you tell him jump, he says how high, you're subconsciously going to lose attraction to him because you don't see him as that valuable. Do you know what I mean?
I think, naturally, like the more the more free you are, like you said, the less interesting you can come across the person.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got the initial attraction, so maybe for the first couple of months, you know, everyone says the first couple of months are great. Like, you're not going to really think about that and like break into that and think, why is that person always available? You might just be excited, honeymoon period. Everyone's like, oh my God, you know, we're spending loads of time together. Once that sort of, you know, excitement goes away, that's when I guess people start to think a bit deeper and like, you know, what is this person actually offering me? And it's the same way, you know, if it's a man looking at a woman or a woman looking at a man, in my opinion. So I think naturally, to be happier, you can't look for your happiness, like we said, in another person. Even in friendships, you know, your family, your best friend, like if you base your happiness based off somebody else's actions and what they do to you, you're never going to be happy. It has to come from you. You know, you enter the world alone, you leave alone. And as cliche as that sounds, you're the one in your brain all the time. You're the one that's thinking all the time. You hear all your thoughts. Like, you lot could be thinking 1,000 things right now that I'm never going to hear. Do you know what I mean? But it's what you think, and you're always going to have that sort of understanding that, yeah, I thought that in that moment. So to make your brain a healthier place, to make, you know, you healthier on a day-to-day basis mentally, you got to do things that make you happy away from people. Like, it doesn't have to be like, you know, you have a hobby and you got to turn it into a grind. I don't believe in that either. I think do things that just make you happy. Go swimming, go for a walk your dog, like pick up something that you know that you're going to enjoy and do it, and don't sacrifice that time. No matter how much you're in love with someone, you need to have that time separate, because that's what keeps you level-headed and balanced. You're not going to be extremely affected by somebody's actions if it doesn't consume your daily thoughts as much. So if I've spent 6 hours doing something else a day and I give my partner 2 hours, that's going to affect me differently as to how I approach him, if in comparison to if I give him 10 hours a day and I don't think of anything else.
Do you feel like that would affect your relationship? Like you said, if you're giving your partner only 2 hours a day compared to 10, don't you feel like that will have a big impact on your relationship itself?
I think it depends what your aim is individually in your life and what your partner's aim is. Like, if you guys are in a place where you're happy, like financially, physically, you're ready, you're married, whatever, you have kids, I don't know, it might work for you to spend only 2 hours a day with them. A lot of people only spend a few hours a day with their partner and they're at work all day, you know. 100%. But I feel like this is why also it's important to know who you're getting into a relationship with. Like, if my partner is an upcoming something, yeah, he's going to need 20 hours, 18 hours a day to work towards that. Am I willing to put that time up and give him that time, and at the expense of that, I see you once a week or I see you once in 2 weeks? Yeah. Like, you have to know what you're walking into. Do you know what I mean? And if you don't agree, you have to communicate that. Like, if you think, okay, this isn't going to work for me, you can't brush it to the side. That's happened to me in the past, where I've brushed, you know, something similar to the side, where I'm like, yeah, you know what, it's not that important. Like, I'm 2 weeks into dating this guy. I don't care if he's busy all the time. He sees me once or twice a week. It's fine. Obviously, as he got busier, for me, it was like, now I care more, but that's because I'm 9 months in. A month in, I couldn't really give a shit. I was like, I don't care. Like, I've got things going on. But 9 months later, I was like, I feel like I need more of his time. But he didn't not communicate that to me. It's not like he didn't tell me. But now I'm pissed off at him. I'm annoyed at him because
you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg.
But I'm not really internalizing what he said to me. In the beginning, he said to me, like, I'm with you, but I'm super busy. Like, I've got things going on. But I'm there like, nah, it don't matter. Like, da-da-da. But like I said, can I blame the man? He told me this already.
Let me jump in.
He's gone, bro.
So, bro, you like, be quick because I got something to say as well. What I'm saying, I feel like, not even as a guy, but as a guy, your purpose needs to be your priority. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And everything comes after that. And I feel like I can really take in what you're saying, because that's how I live my life, and I'm sure it's the same for you, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like, we got so many things going on. I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm busy just to say I'm busy, but like, I like to have my hands dipped in multiple pies. I'm always doing something, working towards that goal of achieving the things that I've set for myself. Do you know what I mean? So I have to make sacrifices. Relationships and talking to a woman is a part of that sacrifice. I'll just be honest and open. Do you know what I mean? There's certain times when I'm talking to a girl, I might like her or I want to get to know her, but she's expecting a certain amount of hours or investment from me that I'm not prepared to give right now. I'm at the stage where I'm in my 20s, I'm in my building phase, you know what I'm trying to say? So if I'm really so focused on building my life and getting to a said goal, I can't allow you to take up 12, 15, 20 hours on FaceTime till 1 a.m. when I got to be up at 6:30 to go gym and then go to my 9 to 5 and then do this after. Do you get it?
Do you know what it is? Like, this conversation is so mad, because I was having this exact conversation literally yesterday.
It's the universe still.
It's mad, but I was saying it's like, you're literally in between a rock and a hard place, because on one side, you like this girl, you know, like you proper like her, you really do like her, but same time, you need to get to what you're going to. You need to get to what you're going towards. Let me run it again. Listen, So you're in between a rock and a hard place, innit? You like this girl fully. However, you've got this other thing over here that you're chasing. That's your purpose, innit? And it's like, your purpose is so strong, you don't want to limit that to this girl. Even though you like her a lot, it's like I can't spend my time with you all the time. Do you understand what I mean? Because I'm building this here.
Do you ever feel like, I got a question for you guys though. So do you ever feel like, you know, like when you're in that space of like, you really like this girl, you might spend time with her. Do you ever feel like that can give a woman the wrong impression though? Like sometimes I feel like men, even if you're not ready for a relationship, like this is something that women say to me all the time. Like they say he treated me like his girlfriend, or like he did things to me that made me feel like I was going to be his girl. I was his girlfriend. So I feel like it's something to tap into, where I feel like men naturally crave women the same way women crave men. Like you might want a relationship, the idea of a relationship, or maybe the things you do in a relationship with a woman, but you're not ready to sort of commit to that woman. What's that bridge like? Like, why is that a thing?
Shit, trying to catch me out, man. What's that bridge like? So just to be clear, like the bridge between a man deciding whether he does or doesn't want a relationship, is that what you're asking?
Yeah, sort of. Like, you know, like I feel like a lot of men will partake in activities with women that make them feel like they're basically his girlfriend. So in the sense of quality time, going out on dates, maybe sleeping with the woman, maybe treating her to whatever, like just things that you would do for your girlfriend as well, like it translates. But when it comes to maybe deciding for that woman to actually be your girlfriend, the conversation of career and stuff comes up, and I don't necessarily disagree with that, but I feel like a lot of women would appreciate understanding the difference. Like why can one happen and not the other?
Oh, like a career or a relationship? No, more
so like, why can you partake in activities that make a woman feel like she's close to a relationship with you, but not get into a relationship?
I feel like, being real and honest, I might be hotting the man them up slightly, but I feel like it's just the commitment side of things. Yeah. Like that relationship title, now we're in a relationship, like now all the other options are locked off completely, and I feel like that's what it is when it really comes down to it. Do you understand what I mean? Like, I don't mind spending time with you, and this ain't just necessarily spending time with me, innit? And we're like, fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. I'm just saying on the general perspective, and I feel like you can agree with this, innit? Yeah. It's a thing where I don't mind spending time with you. I don't mind going on little dates with you. I don't mind doing X, Y, and Z. But when it comes to the relationship thing, it's like that's a big jump now. Now it's like all my other options are locked off completely, and I feel like that's what it is really and truly.
Do you know what it is? I hear your point, and adding on to Tay's point, I've been writing notes as well for how I'm going to respond to this question. Yeah, I feel like I break it down into two bits. First segment I'm breaking it down into is society and what society deems as normal for men, and the second thing is exclusivity and actual willingness to be loyal. So I break it into two. So in terms of willingness to be loyal, I just feel like generally speaking, a lot of men are not actually prepared to be loyal to one specific woman for the rest of your life. That's just what I personally think. Society deems that as normal. Marriage, man and woman, whoever, get married, whatnot, spend the rest of your life together. But I feel like a lot of men, you do not actually have the sexual discipline, in my personal opinion. And again, from hot not the man them, sorry not sorry, innit? With high level conversation, that's how I feel. I feel like a lot of men just simply do not have the sexual capacity or discipline to just fully commit to investing in one woman only. So that's why they'll try and entertain the activities of a relationship without the title, because they're getting all the benefits without the commitment on their end, you know what I mean? So they're getting everything that they want without giving everything that they maybe would need. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. So if you, like your sister was listening to this, or your cousin or whatever, how would you expect her to react to that? Yeah, how does a woman digest that?
Initially, off the back of what I just said, it's not nice to hear. No woman wants to hear like, okay, cool.
Let's be real. You're not gonna say that to a girl from the jump, innit? You're not really.
I mean, I don't think you would ever say that to a woman you're interested in, because she'll run the other way. Let's be real.
I've said this to women, but when I'm talking to a specific woman myself, I will let her know what I actually want. Me as an individual, and we've spoken about this, I know that I am sexually disciplined enough that if I really said, you know what, I'm looking at all of, I am. Do you know what I'm trying to say? However, would I choose to do that? Depends. And if I wasn't willing to do that, I wouldn't put myself in that situation. And what I'm trying to say is that men put themselves in that situation where then they're not required to deal with the things that come with being in that situation. You're saying I want to be in a relationship, but you're not sexually disciplined enough. So when you're out with a man them and a girl's looking at you, now you're feeling the type of way, you're going to risk it all. Do you know what I mean? Because now lust has taken over, all logic goes out the window. Do you get it? So that's the first bracket I would put it into. But to answer your question about how other women would perceive that, I feel like it's not nice to hear as a woman that, like, I don't want to say shattered your dreams, that a lot of men just simply don't have the capacity to be with one woman. However, I feel like that's just the harsh truth no one is prepared to say, because I feel like look at all these guys who get into a relationship and cheat because simply they don't have the sexual discipline required to be in a soul relationship. Does that make sense? So I feel like from a man's point of view, you need to just be honest, and that's where communication comes in. If you actually genuinely don't think that you can commit to one woman, let her know that. Don't lead her astray and introduce her to a vibe you can't maintain.
But do you feel like I feel like if people were more honest, like it wouldn't, like, no man, I don't feel like men are naturally going to be honest with women and come and say, I just want to sleep with you, because 90% of the time, like, that's not going to be accepted by a woman.
Everyone says they want honesty, but when honesty really comes,
that's what I mean.
Are you really here to face it?
Like, obviously some people like will be happy to just sleep with people, and that's fine. I don't think there's a problem with that. I think there's a lot of women out there that are happy to just, you know, have that situation with someone, and you know, they enjoy it as much as the other person. Like, women aren't like robots. They also enjoy, you know, sexual activity. It's not hard to understand. But I think that a lot of situations that I've seen happen are, you know, thinking that you're going to get more from a man, or maybe you had more from a man and it sort of decreased over time. Like, that happens as well. And like you said, I think honesty, as much as we all say, you know, why were you never honest with me? I think that there's an element of us that like to live in bliss and ignore.
Yeah,
you know,
100%. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah,
literally.
Exactly.
I agree. So I would just sum it up by saying that that's why whenever you get yourself into a situation, especially I'm talking to the man them here, over communicate. Do you know what I mean? Don't just communicate, over communicate. If you genuinely don't feel like you can see yourself locked off every other gal gone, do you know what I mean, in a relationship, don't do that, because I feel like where us guys holding us to the fire and being accountable is we'll allow a woman to have one idea of where we're going, but we're never going there. We know that from day dot, but we'll allow her to go there. Do you know what I mean? Because a lot of men want the benefits of what comes with it. That's what I would say firstly.
I think it's easier said than done, though. I don't think like people tread like in the world with the aim to ensure that the other person's feelings aren't hurt. Do you know what I mean? Like I said, love can come with ego, and even though a man might not love the woman, it's a form of love. Like, it's being attracted to someone and whatnot. Like, it is a form of love, in my opinion. So I feel like you're not going to look at someone, especially if you actually don't have that, you know, that love for them, like, deeply. You're not going to look at someone and be like, I'm going to tell them how I feel about them and tell them that I don't want them the full way, with the hope that, you know, at least their feelings won't be as hurt. Like, I don't think naturally people tread like that. Like, to get what you want from a situation, you might be a bit dishonest, or your opinion might just change. Like, you might like someone and then over time, like, you don't like that person as much anymore, which is why I say, as a woman, because I don't want this to come across as women are weak and men have all the power, because that's not the case. Like, my whole aim is to make women understand that you've got more power than you realize, and part of it is sexual power, and part of it is like controlling that, but also a lot of it is like how you react to things. Like, I don't think like sending a man 100 messages and paragraphs and that, for example, is gonna make him like you more. Do you know what I mean? Like, telling him how he made you feel. I think I really go by one and done. I never used to, but it's like, if you...
Sorry, because I've been saying that for the longest. Like,
tell him once, and if he's not, maybe twice if you're really feeling him, but tell him once, and if he's not changing his behaviour, he just don't want to, and it's got nothing to do with you. Like, it's got nothing to do with the way you look, who you are. You know, there's going to be a million men out there that find you attractive, bar this guy. Do you know what I mean? So it's not the end of the world. Don't think, oh yeah, because this man, I sent him, like, if you've sent him 6 paragraphs, is the 7th one going to make a difference? No. I'm telling you from experience as well. Like, I've done that in the past, and it's dumb. Like, I'm glad I did that when I was 18 and not when I'm 22, 23. Do you know what I mean? Like, the sooner you get that out of your system, people know what they're doing, like, respectfully. As much as, like, they might not know from an in-depth version as to why they're doing it. They might not know that they communicate like this because of this. At surface, they know that they're treating you like that. Yeah. So everyone has a conscience. Exactly. Yeah. So why are you, like, let's not act like people are dumb. Like, people know what they're doing. So why are you going to sit in a situation and tell a man 10 times a week, why did you do this, or why didn't you call me, or why didn't you? He knows, and he doesn't want to. And if he doesn't want to, okay, on to the next. Like, men do that. Why can't women just, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Strong. One and done. I live by that. Yeah. Like, I've gone through a few situations in my life here when it's like, I've given this person so many chances, so many different try-overs, and it's like, they get comfortable now. Now they know I can take the mick kind of, because I know he's gonna, do you get me? Yeah. And when I realised that, I said, no, we need to stop. One and done. I'm gonna lay all the cards on the table. I'm gonna say, this is what it is. And if you go against that, I've got to keep it moving, and it's that simple. Yeah. If that makes sense.
I'm loading up Instagram Live, just letting you lot know. But carry on in
it. But no, I was just gonna say, like, I don't agree with the notion, because some people like had interacted with me and said, like, oh, like, don't tell women to keep their guard up. This is women, like, saying to me, don't tell women to keep their guard guard up, tell them to love freely. And I was like, no, telling a woman to keep her guard up isn't me saying, oh, like, don't love someone freely. It's just saying that if someone treats you well in the first few months, if someone does these things for you, you don't have to fall head over heels for them, that like that person can never make a mistake, or if they do start making mistakes, you let it slide because it's how well they used to treat you. Do you know what I mean? So it's the same way as the one and done. Like, I think communication is key with everything. Sometimes things can be miscommunicated. Sometimes someone can say something to you and you might not take it right. Like, for example, I always have issues over texting. If someone texts me something, I take it in wrong sometimes, and I'm like, why'd you say it like that? And it's like, that's not how I said it.
You can't pick up tone.
Exactly. So like, one and done in the sense of, all right, let's communicate, let's talk about it. If you're willing to hear me, I'm willing to hear you, and we can resolve it, then amazing. But if I've talked to you about it more than once even, and I'm experiencing the same thing, I just have to accept that you don't want to do it, or like something's stopping you from doing it. Whatever your reasoning is, that's not my problem.
Yeah, word.
It's the outcome that is what affects me. And if I then accept that, let's say I accept this behavior now, whatever it is, and I've explained to you, what's going to stop you from doing it again? Is that me now? If I slap you right now and I say to you, oh, and you say, oh, it's all right, just don't do it again, but you don't actually like stop me from slapping you again. What's going to stop me from doing? Do you know what I mean? And then another and another until you're ready to hold my hand and stop me from slapping you. So it's the same when it comes to emotional stuff. And it's hard for, I think, anyone to have these conversations because this is stuff that we all go through. Do you know what I mean? On a daily basis, like whether it's a serious relationship, whether it's a situationship, whether it's just interaction, we've all had some form of love that might not have gone the way we wanted it to. Strong. So it burns. Like when you talk about it, when you hear something that resonates with you, like, oh, why did I do that? It's like attack, but it's not like listen without ego. Listen to this stuff and take it in and think, how do I stop this from happening to me again? It's all within your own control, you know?
100%.
Gems.
100%.
But yeah,
Gems. Now you're going off, and I 100% agree. And I can tell you this is something that you're very passionate about, which is good.
So
you know what
passionate
I mean?
about it.
So I wouldn't even say it's a question, but it's doubling back on the response to your initial question, and I said I split it out into two things. So I spoke about loyalty and like men just really not wanting to commit.
Is that my phone? That's my phone.
What the hell was that?
That's my phone. Should I go turn it off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine not, but I was asking about that. And then the other question that I had off the back of that was like, or not even question, statement was that society, I personally believe that a lot of men, mine is cool. A lot of men, you see options, you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, you're not going to be willing to commit to one woman where, well, a lot of men, not all men, some men, you know what I'm trying to say? You're not going to be willing to commit to one woman and make her your one and only when this girl's adding your snap tomorrow, or this girl you swipe on Instagram and you see her. Do you know what I'm trying to say? I feel like as human beings, we're so, because of social media, we're so naturally abundant subconsciously that we don't even know. Because 50 years ago, in our parents' generation, they probably met and lived in the same area, village, town, do you know what I mean? Or a friend of a friend, and that's it. Oh, that's your man, pick him, calm, do you know what I mean? That's how my parents met, literally from the same area, do you know what I mean? Whereas now, tomorrow, someone could tap in from the podcast and maybe try talk to me or whoever, and she could live in fucking Bristol, do you know what I'm trying to say? And Birmingham, do you know what I mean? And now my perception of my options, has now widened tenfold. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like that's another reason why people may not want to commit to one person, because they're like, oh yeah, the grass is greener on the other side. Well, what they think anyway. So 100%. What do you lot think?
And I feel like, just touching away from your point, we'll go back to that. I feel like sometimes, and I feel like females especially, they want that. What's the word? You're mine, innit? And when I feel like when women say you're mine, it's like, now you can't get anyone else in this world, isn't it? Now you can't go and get that girl down the road or that girl over there because you're mine. And I feel like sometimes females want you're mine. I don't even know where I'm going.
I see what you're saying. Yeah. I think once again it depends on experience, like, and the type of woman that you're allowing into your space. Like naturally, I think as well, like we all go through phases. So there might be a woman that's had that experience with you, but maybe in a few years she's ready to have a love that's not like that, and she treats someone else completely different. I think it's hard with social media and like what you were saying about options, and the fact that like our parents like sort of just saw things through and didn't like end things. I think it's easy to say that, but then again, like some of our parents have been in like decade-long relationships and they're not happy. So why am I gonna sit there and glamorize that when the reality of the matter is, I guess, like while social media can be a bad thing, it's also a good thing. Like why should I stay in a relationship with a man down the road when someone that lives 2 hours away is willing to give me way more in comparison to what I want, you know, and vice versa. So social media has its pros and cons in every way, whether it's you're making content, whether it's you're trying to put yourself out there, whether it's you're looking for a relationship, you know. It's just about using those pros and cons to your advantage. Like if you fall into the cycle of scrolling every day, your life's down the drain realistically. But if you're opening yourself to content that is suitable to what you want to do and you're watching that, your experience changes, right? So it's the same, I think, with relationships. Like, if I open myself up to every single person that messages me online, I'm never gonna have a solid relationship. I'm gonna be the next man every day. Do you know what I mean?
Too accessible.
If exactly. But if I don't know, respond to one person every now and again, and then find the person that I'm meant to be with, or if I'm disrespected by someone, and I choose to leave them, I've got all these options where I don't feel like I'm stuck with this person. Whereas maybe 50 years ago, I would have been married. Love was transactional back then for women. Like, you're going into a situation where the man has to provide for you. We didn't work back 60, 80, 90 years ago, however long ago. So while that's changed, I think it's just allowed everyone to have more options, but it's just how you treat those options. Like, I think it benefits us overall, but like, it can really go into that dark hole of like, well, I don't have to chat to you, I don't have to fix this with you, because I can now jump to the next person.
100%.
You know?
Do you feel like that's a good thing or a bad thing, though, really and truly?
I think it depends where you are in your life. Like, if you're a young woman or a young man that's like not trying to settle down anytime soon, then why would it be a bad thing for you to sort of have the options where you don't want to be treated a certain way or like whatnot? And also, every situation is different. Like, I might not accept something that you might accept, and vice versa. Like, if someone doesn't reply to me, let's say if I don't get, like I said, a reply in 6 hours, to me, I might be like, that's not okay. I will need a man that's a bit more present in my day-to-day life. Some women might be a bit more busy and be like, I can only talk to you at 10 p.m. at night and have an overall summary call of the day. Like, some people, like, there's arguments online all the time about if he doesn't text you in 24 hours, like, he hates you. Do you know what I mean? And then some women are like, that's dead. Like, I'm busy for 48 hours. How about that? I'll call him when I'm ready. So like I said, it depends on who you are and what you're looking for. And that's why I say, like, not one size fits all. Everything that I've even said in this podcast, I don't think anyone should take it in and digest it as 100%. Like, a lot of the things we speak about is from experience and what we've opened ourselves up to. Do you know what I mean? So it would be wrong for someone to sit and listen and be like, oh, I agree with this, but everything else she said is irrelevant. No, I don't think so. I think it's relevant to the people it needs to be relevant to.
Strong.
And then the people that it doesn't, like, I respect that. Same way everything I read online or listen to isn't necessarily relevant to me.
Strong.
You know? So like I said, it just depends on, I feel like, where you are in life, what affects you. Like, you might be ready for someone to be in your life every day. I might not be, and that will affect how I treat who's approaching me.
100%.
You know?
Strong. Someone in the live said, yeah, she's spitting still. She is spitting. Listen, the episode's coming soon, man. I can't lie, but you're 100%, like you said, you're spitting still. Do you know what I mean? You're dropping facts, because I feel like when it comes into a relationship, things can fluctuate. You know what I mean? And it's not just as simple as being black and white. Yes, we said that at the start. You know, men think from a bit more of a logical perspective, which could be black and white. For women, it could be somewhere in the middle, because emotions are now involved. However, it all depends on the individual and what experiences that said individual has been through to dictate where they perceive their relationship to either A, be at, or B, where it should be at. For example, Tay, in this example, all he knows is toxicity in his relationships because of the experiences he's seen from his parents. So now he's expecting that as a default normal compared to me. My parents in this example have been great, you know, had healthy communication between my mum and dad. So now when I'm searching for a relationship, I'm looking at what Tay's going on at raw, like, this guy's giving him mad trauma he doesn't even know about, but that's all he knows, because he can't transcend, literally, as that's before, what he doesn't know. Do you know what I mean?
I think I think all we can do really in this life is just try to be better at those things, like, and trying to have a better understanding of self. Like, the more you understand yourself and the more you can regulate your emotions, man or woman, because men do get emotional, it's just you guys channel it differently than women, right? Facts. Like, so, and that's, like I said, based off childhood. Like, as you grow up, like, women are told to express their emotions. We're told, like, yeah, you can cry, whether it's movies you watch, whether it's your parents. Like, when you're a man, it's like, get up, stop crying, you're a boy, boys don't cry. Do you know what I mean? So exactly, so I don't blame men for not being as emotional as women, but your delivery and your communication, that doesn't mean that you can't, you know, patch up on those things. You're not dumb, you're just not as emotional. It's that simple. And
you're making a conscious choice.
And I think sometimes women do excuse men like that, or like, oh, he doesn't understand. It's like, no, a lot of the time, like, people know what they're doing to each other. For example, it's just maybe the way we take things in and the way we deliver things are different, because I might be running off emotion, but you're running off logic. Friends. And a lot of things break down like that. And I think above all, like I said, we should aim to just be better versions of ourselves, because at the end of the day, relationships, friendships, all of that is great, but how you treat yourself is going to be a direct, translation as to how you treat other people. So the nicer and the kinder you are to yourself, the more you are willing to understand your emotions and why you think the way you do, why you do things the way you do, why you react to things the way you do, it's naturally going to transcend into your relationships,
100%.
Facts. It all starts internally first,
100%.
and as a result, your relationships and your perception of your relationship will be as an external result.
Exactly.
So I've got a question, because you seem very passionate about this topic itself. Where did it actually come from? Where did it stem from? Where did this come from?
I always used to talk a lot, like, from young. So I've always been into like politics, and my degree's in politics, right?
Okay.
So a lot of it was social media. A lot of it was like talking to people and understanding people. So from like 14, 15, I had to be around like really important people in politics, and it was a people's game. So like understanding why people do things, how to make people like you, or how to make people understand what you want and put that into place. So where I did that from a young age, that was more on a business, I guess, level. And then as I got older, I started liking guys. So I was like, okay, like I'm into relationships. I want to, I want a relationship, or I want to feel loved. And, naturally you go through puberty, those feelings come about. And to be honest, it was just like giving advice to my friends. Like I'm naturally a person that likes to empower the people around me. Yeah. And a lot of my female friends were going through heartbreak or going through relationships or different phases of understanding what they wanted from a man. So my thing was, I naturally just saw a gravitation in life in general. Might be the women around me, might be the stuff I watch, but what I saw was women being not done dirty, but like feeling like they were disrespected, or they didn't get what they wanted out of relationships. And my thing was like, why? Like I just thought, why do women go through this all the time? And how do you enter situations on the same level and always feel like you've gotten less at the end of it? Like why do you feel like you've got the short end of the stick as a woman, even if it's not true, even if it is true? Like why do we feel like the victims in the situation? And to avoid all of that, I just thought, let me start reading into this and understanding a male perspective. So I listened to a lot of like alpha male books on relationships and why certain men do certain things, and then just looked at the counteractive side of that too. There's a woman called Toni Tone who writes relationships books, and she's amazing. And basically I just delved into it, and I just really liked it. And I thought, it makes me feel good to empower women. If I can empower men as well, great, but it makes me feel good to make women take that power back a little bit, because it's really easy to lose that in this day and age with all like the stimulation of, relationships online, what should be and what shouldn't be. And you can fall, if you have any sort of broken part of you where, not broken, but any part of you that's not developed to a healthy stage, it's very easy to be influenced by, if he doesn't buy you a Birkin, he hates you, or if he doesn't reply at this stage, he hates you, or if you're not doing this, you're not of value, or if you don't have this, you're not that woman that he's going to respect or want in his life. So just to avoid all of that, I just wanted to sort of just give my opinion online and make women feel like, you know what, just hold your head up a little bit higher and just don't be as available, and it'll go a long way. It's really simple things. It's just putting them into play that can be hard when you're not used to it.
I'm jumping in. We're putting the brakes on that, do you know what I mean? We're putting the brakes on that because you're dropping too many gems, you know what I mean? So just on the way out, I can't lie, definitely coming back for part 2 because it's needed, you know what I mean?
I need to be here from the start as well.
You do need to be here from the start.
That's your clout. Just quickly, what's everyone's gem? So Tay, jump with a gem.
My gem on the way out.
On the way out
is the same one that I said in the episode. Is don't find your happiness in other people. Find your happiness in yourself. Do you understand what I mean? You can only make yourself truly happy, and you only know what your happiness is. Another person don't actually know what that is. Do you get me? So find your happiness within yourself.
Strong.
My gem would be it would be open yourself up to new perspectives, because sometimes we live in a world where we only see things based off of what we've experienced. So the more you open yourself up to new viewpoints and perspectives, the less you'll feel constrained to the life you live at the moment, which might not feel as good as you want it to feel.
Strong.
Yeah.
Boy, how can I top that shit? My gem would simply be, I would say just trust your instinct. And I feel like a lot of people put what other people want ahead of what they want. So when it comes to relationships, friendships, trust yourself, believe, trust your gut. And if something doesn't feel right, a lot of women have good intuition. Use that intuition to come into play with choosing your right partner. Strong.
I agree.
Like, subscribe.